Okay, can you see my screen here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, guys. It's nice to be here again. I'm Ederson here, and it's an honor to be here to talk to you again. For me, it's for the third time, and now to talk about a little bit about the CLD exam. And it's a pleasure to be here now with my friend John Arranz. And I would like to ask you, John, to present yourself.
Yeah. Hello. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. And also with Ederson, thank you for giving me the chance to present with you this thing. So I'm John. I'm an Ederson colleague from Spain, and we thought that it will be like interesting to present this how to do the CLD with DQMH. So let's start.
Yeah, nice. And so I'm Ederson. I think some of you know me, and I have been working here in Spain with John. I think it's for 6 months, and now we can share a little bit about what we think it's a good way to take the CLD exam and to have a good result. Nice. So following this uh, this, I think it's like a tradition in our presentations for LabVIEW. I would like to introduce you Ana Minano in our giant star female. She's a Spanish industrial engineer and a LabVIEW expert, and also an expert in ground control system for aerospace, and she was responsible for ignite the engine of the first suborbital European private rocket, Miron, in 2023. And she's our colleague, so it's an inspiration for us. Well, uh, before we start talking about the exam, we'd like to introduce a little bit about this learning, this way of learning LabVIEW, the evolution of learning LabVIEW, and I think everything. I don't know. A lot of us start working with LabVIEW and start doing something that works for a task, for a necessity that we have, and we start doing a code, and the codes, we have some code like something, and the lab we start code like a mule, and we start sometimes we start to doing something, and we have our code like an spaghetti. This is an image that is very famous in our area, and this is an evolution. When we start doing structures very big with a lot of wires passing through the structure, through the functions, and then we pass to start when we start learning some good structures. We change our mule, and we start develop like a sausage. So we start our code from the left to the right, and then when we have to scale this code, we start to have a problem because our code begins to go to the infinite, and maybe a customer call us and say, look, I want you put something here in the middle of this to do something before we start this task, and it could be a problem. and then we move when we are getting more knowledge about LabVIEW, we move to the design patterns, and then we are presented to the state machines. What is an evolution for the other structures that I showed you, and we can put our tasks inside some states, and we get an improvement over that. And then but we still have some problems here. Then, for example, we learn more structures, and for example, we learn the producer consumer, and we learn how to pass, for example, data from some loops without using a local variable that could be a problem for us. And then with this structure, we have the base for the keyword message handler. Keyword message handler, most of us know, is a template that was created by National Instruments, and it's available to use, and it's based all on the producer consumer loop, where we can pass some data from uh, an event handling loop. We have a loop just to handle our events. Some in the majority case is the user interface events, and you can pass these events to a message handling loop that will consume the information that we have here, maybe a task, maybe some data, and we can do some thinking here. If and here we could start our presentation about the CLD exam, how to do our CLD exam. But after we got a post from the keyword message consortium some months ago, that the framework would be available for the exams, not only CLA but for CLD. We thought would be very nice to get a step forward and to try use this framework for the exam, because we think it should the benefits are higher than the difficult to learn a new framework. And we some of you can say that we are using like a tank to attack an ant, but I think the change between keyword message handler and the keyword message handler is not so big. We have a lot of information to learn its framework, and that's the reason that we are start to pass our presentation now over the content, the exam, uh, talking about the framework, the framework from the DQMH consortium. And for now, I would like to call John to continue the presentation. I'm piloting the slides, John, so you
Okay.
can say when I can move. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm under your command.
Okay. Thank you, Ederson. So as Ederson said, since like a month ago, the DQMH consortium made publish that now it's available in order to perform the CLD and the CLA exams. So between all the frameworks that we can choose now the DQMH framework. Please pass to the next slide, Ederson.
Yeah.
Okay. So as many of you may know, or maybe others not, but this is the code of a module of DQMH. DQMH is based in the QMH framework by NI, but it's like an enhanced version of QMH. It allows us to create via in the backgrounds. It uses like a scripting, and it creates modules in order to develop different parts of the code. But for the CLD, we only will need to develop a single module. So here you have the code of a normal module of DQMH. This is the example module of the ATM exam of the CLD. And as you can see, it's very similar. Maybe have like a slight differences, but it's very similar to the QMH QA message handler modules of NI. Pass, Ederson, please. So let's go to the CLD exam. So this is an exam overview, an introduction of the CLD exam. On your left, you have it. Here you have the description of the exam, and on the right is there are the main topics that you have to pass in order to pass the exam. So you have the design concepts, you have also the user interface, the block diagram design practices, programming practices, all the points. And in order to pass the CLD exam, you need to fulfill all the points. So one of the main topics about DQMH is it allows us, like, it helps us to fulfill all the points. Like, it's very easy using DQMH to pass all the points in order to get the certification, because it includes automatically an error handling. You can include a timing, a helper loop in order to time something that you need to perform in the exam, and all that kind of things. Pass to the next one, please. Okay, so one of the main concepts that you need to do in the CLD exam in order to get to pass it, to get the certification, is the modularity. So here you have like two different examples to explain what is modularity. So here on the left, you have the read accounts data VI. This is a VI which reads the information from the TXT file, which is a CSV file, and return all the accounts names, surnames, and remaining money. So it's important to develop this kind of sub VIs in order to perform modularity and also for usability of the code. So if you want to put this VI in another part of the code, you can just place it in one place and copy it, and that's it. And the same with the write accounts data VI. So if you want to write account data information, you can reuse this VI in different parts of the code, and you can have it. And this is important because DQMH, with its structure, with DQMH, you can like reuse. You cannot fit all this code inside the state of DQMH, so it pushes you to create these sub VIs. We will see it later. Maybe it's clever later. Ederson, please. Okay, so here we have the next point is the scalability. So with DQMH, with the CLD exam, we only need to develop, as I told you before, a single module, but it must be a working single module. So sometimes with DQMH, you develop a module in order to create the user interface with the user events and the user interface events, but with or another module in order to manage the ATM accounts, for example, to parse the CSV file and that kind of things. But for the CLD, we only need to develop a single module which is going to manage all the user interface events and also the private requests that we are going to use for these modules. Why private requests? Because, as I told you before, this is a single module, so these requests are going to be placed in the private folder in your project. and you won't need to develop another module. So you are going to use them just in the same module. So this is an example of the initialized status of the DQMH. It includes like the default property nodes and VIs. And I also included the three VIs on the bottom right in order to manage the private the user interface controls, in order to set up the bank accounts, and order to update the message. We will see it later with like a code example and that. So these three VIs on the bottom, sorry, Ederson. These three VIs on the bottom right, they are an example of private requests. Any questions until this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, one thing that John said is important, that for this CLD exam, the way we think about the exam is to use just one model, just one DQMH model to do the application. We think there is no reason to create a model for user interface, a model for example, read the file, for error handling. For the exam is just enough to make one model and to do your application running. And we think it's a good way to to show your knowledge about the framework, about how to do things in LabVIEW. And that's the as I forgot to say, our feeling here is that every one of you that doesn't have a certification yet could take the exam, and the next year we are here again doing the same presentation, but focused on the CLA exam, and now showing how to use many models of the QMH, and talking each other and doing things like that. Right. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
I used to speak a lot.
Yeah, somebody wrote on the chat asking if we can use DQMH in the CLD exam. Yes, since like a month ago, the DQMH consortium told us, I think via LinkedIn, that now it's available. There is an image of LabVIEW that, yeah, it's available. So let's continue. Okay, the cohesion. So as I told you many times before, for this certification, the CLD certification, we only need to develop a single module. So this framework, the QMH framework, helps us to maintain low coupling and high cohesion within that module, just by itself. If we just respect the folder hierarchy and the private folder hierarchy and everything, you will maintain low coupling and high cohesion in that module. And this means that if you want to develop a single module or a lot of modules, maybe in the future for future projects, it will help you for low cohesion and low coupling, and high cohesion in every module. And you can use private requests in order to get that. And this gives your project a clear hierarchical design. So as you can see on the right picture, you have like a typical DQMH module, the ATM module in this case, and you have all the hierarchical design, which is created automatically. You don't have to create the public API or the request or the broadcast. Anything is created automatically. You can create like new folders inside the main folders, but that's everything. Please, Ederson.
Yeah.
Any questions regarding anything?
Any questions that you have, you can write here,
Yeah.
and I'm going to, and I can write here, John, and you can going
I'm
over
checking the
the
chat also.
yes,
Yeah.
and if it's necessary, I'll call you if something that I
Okay.
don't know.
Thank you. So let's continue. In order to pass the CLD exam, you also need to manage file structure. I think every CLD exam has a file structure part where you are asked to do something with some file, with a CSV file or maybe .ini file or configuration file or anything. So you need to manage this file. So what can we do with DQMH in order to manage this file? We can create a private request in order to manage this file. So I created a private request called setup accounts file, which is called from the initialize status. We could see that like a few slides ago. So what I did before was setting up a file name in the main cluster called, and the variable is called accounts.txt file name. And now I created the full path with the build path BI and the application path BI. And I'm introducing this path inside a sub BI, which is called, I think, setup accounts file or something like that. And now I'm parsing all the accounts info and saving them in the main cluster. So with this setup accounts file request, you are sure that you have after passing this state, you are sure that you have all the accounts information updated. So it's important. Here you can see the sub BI, the modularity, and also the cohesion with using private requests. Yeah, please, Ederson. Yeah. The CLD also is like asking us to perform like coding using design practices. So in order to have the code more like clarified, you have to perform like coding schemes. I decided that these schemes are like the best in my opinion, but they need to be like pastel colors. I think they cannot be like highlighted colors like pure red, green, or blue colors or something like that. They need like to be like pastel colors, like these ones. So I decided that the default events that comes with the DQMH modules, they will be like in a yellow color, pastel color. The user interface events will be in commented. Sorry, I didn't say that. The comments will be in grayish pastel color, and the private requests comments will be in like in green, bluish pastel color. So I think this is very important because while you are like scrolling through the case structure, you can have like a quick look and know where you are. If you are in the DQMH default events, or if you are in the user interface events, or you are in the private request events, and it's very quick to check where you are, because sometimes the list of events is huge and you don't have time to read all of them. And it's important to also have all the type devs that we create to have them grouped and aligned. Like in this case, by default, DQMH has like I call it main cluster, but I don't know its real name. It's like a module cluster or something like
data
yeah,
model cluster.
data module cluster. Yeah. And
Yes.
by default is aligned vertically, so you don't have to do anything. Just add into it anything you will need in the future, and that's it. You don't need to care about aligning it on do something like for user design. It's automatic. Please, Ederson. Okay, so with LabVIEW, we can customize objects like type devs, but it's not mandatory in the CLD exam, so you don't need to do it. It takes a lot of time. You won't have like enough time to finish it, so I wouldn't recommend to customize any objects. So regarding the state management, you can create sub VIs in order to reuse them, like in further in the code. In this case, for example, in the ATM exam, you are asked to enable and disable some of the controls and indicators. So what you can do, one of the ways to perform the exam is save all the references in an array, and put them into a for loop and enable or disable as requested. So this VI can be reused in any part of the code that you need to perform these user interface things. And it's also mandatory to perform like the icon design. And I ask us to put like descriptive icons in the VIs. But to be honest, I after pass the CLD exam, I never do that. I write something and that's it, because it takes me a lot of time to me, like thinking what icon do I need to use. This is a reference, so I need to place some reference icon. So for me, it takes a lot of time. So for me, it's easier to write down something in the icon. But for the CLD exam, you need to place some icons. So for example, we have two examples. On the left, we have the main VI icon, which is created automatically by DQMH. And on the right, you have an VI which set up the controls and indicator status, which gets the controls and indicator status by name. So it returns the name of the controls and indicators. So in my opinion, the best way to describe the function of the right VI was that, and that's it. Asking a question and placing like a control indicator symbol, and I think it's a control symbol, and that's it. And as you can see on the top of the VI, you have the ATM letters, which is because the module is an ATM module. So you can also customize all the top description of the icon in every VI automatically with LabVIEW.
Yeah.
Please, Ederson. Okay. So it's important to keep the data flow like clear in the CLD exam. They in order to pass the CLD, it's important to don't have like backwards wires or wires entering in the top of any structure, a for loop or something, or in the bottom. So all the wires must be from the left to the right in order to keep the data flow like properly. So in this case, we can see a good way to perform this is like with the error wire. So in this case, we can see the error wire entering in the left part of the case structure and going through the right and passing through three VIs, which are sub VIs, which have been created in order to perform reusability in case we need to reuse them afterwards. And why is DQMH a good way to perform the CLD? Because DQMH automatically introduce all the wires from the left to the right, and we don't need to think about that. You just need to keep all the wires where DQMH created them. So I think this is a good way to use why we need to use DQMH. And there is also a good point, and it's like an eternal fight with the team to perform the size of the event handling loop and the message handling loops. Don't change the size, because sometimes when you are like pressing control and moving the mouse, you don't realize that you are resizing all the case structure or all the event handling loop structure. And when you realize you have like a lot of empty spaces in the VIs, and when you try to resize them in order to get them smaller, you do like a mess. And I think it's better to start developing thinking about don't resizing them.
Yeah.
And this is a very important point, because sometimes when we resize the VI, we don't realize that we create some wires going backwards. So this can be penalized in the CLD exam. So it's very important to keep this.
Yeah.
Anything you want something to say, Ederson? Or?
Yeah. No.
Ah.
Yeah. Just to to follow that rule that if something start to be bigger than your screen,
Yeah,
modularize it, make a
that's it.
model.
Yeah, that's why is if you keep the size of the, could you go please to the back to the previous
Yeah,
slide? If I think here you can see like clearly on the left slide, on the left picture, you have like two sub VIs and one the status updated VI is a private request, so I know what I'm talking about this. But the two sub VIs that I created, they are created because you cannot fill the code inside the sub VI in the status. So that's why DQMH is like pushes you to in order to create sub VIs and make the code more modular, to be said. Okay,
yeah,
so that's why important to keep the size of both structures. Okay, let's talk about data elements. As I told you before, there is a main cluster, a data, I don't remember the name again, a
they
data
model cluster.
module cluster, yeah, which is located on the left of the message handling loop structure. And using the shift registers, you can keep all the data inside any status. So you need to be sure that you don't create more shift registers. If you have more than one shift register, maybe this means that you are doing something wrong. Not 100% of the time, but 99% of the times, this means that you are doing something wrong. So you need to introduce this variable inside the data cluster, and this means that you are doing the things like properly. So in order to do this, we need to use, I recommend to use the unbundle by name function and the button by name function, because you can see the in which variable you are like updating the data, and you don't need to create like the constant label in order to know what are you doing in that part of the code. So this is, I think this is important. And you can, yeah, and you can see here how are we updating using the accounts txt file name. We are updating it's like over the variable name, but you are updating the full path of the accounts txt file. And we are also like updating the accounts info. There is an array with a cluster inside, and it's called accounts info, and we are updating these values. So it's important in order to avoid local variables. Sometimes we cannot like avoid them because we need to use them, but in the very
Yeah,
specific parts of the code.
yeah. For example, if one recommendation in the CLD exam is that if you have to, sorry, if you have to update a value of a control, it's the better. It's best to use local variable instead of proper node, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's important to avoid the local variables because or keeping this structure, because we can avoid race conditions. It's easier to avoid
yeah.
race conditions if we don't use local variables than if we use them.
I
And
don't know if you heard some. I don't remember, John, but I think if you use more than two local variables in your exam, you start to lose points. I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
not sure about
remember.
it.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they use like a VI analyzer with a template in
I
order.
heard about it. I heard
Yeah,
about it, but I
yeah,
don't know if someone have this information. If can
yeah.
share, it would be nice.
It's like a secret template of NI.
Yeah, yeah.
And they also check first. The first thing that they do is to check the arrow in order if they can run or not the project. And if the arrow is broken, you fail the exam.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So let's continue with the program practices. This is, I have to say that this is a thing that I always forget, and Ederson loves to do these kind of things. It's important to close references after we use them, and in our case, when we are sure that we won't use them again in the exit status. So it's easy. We just need to create an array of references, and with the close reference, is close or the store close reference, right? With the close reference VI, we can introduce the array, and all the references will be closed. It's important to do this in order to avoid a memory leak. Maybe for further uses of any code, not just in DQMH, for any code in any framework, is important to close the references. And here, as I told you, this is the exit status. So all the VIs that you see here, not the close reference and the local variable with the constant string constant, but the remaining VIs, they are created automatically by DQMH scripting. So when you create a module with DQMH, you can it's created automatically. So you don't need to do anything. Is this clear? Okay. So there is a local variable here in order to update the messages of the ITM. And I created this local variable because once you are in the exit status, everything is closed or stopped. So you cannot like enqueue more events. So in order to get this message, once you are sure that the application is closing, there is another. I think there is no other way to enqueue this, to show this message. So this is why I created a local variable here. And it's important to avoid coercion dots. So sometimes, like in these references, we cannot avoid them because we just need the reference, not the strict reference, in order to close them, or to use like generic attributes of a control indicator, like to make them visible or disable and gray out or whatever. But sometimes, for example, with the numeric controls and indicators, it's very important to avoid coercion dots, because sometimes we will have a big problem if we don't avoid them. So in this case, we have a double or a single, we don't know, a double wire wired into a numeric wire, which is a sign 32, and there is a coercion dot. In order to avoid this coercion dot, we have the convert to sign 32 to avoid this problem. So the little red dot is not there.
No.
Yeah.
Let's hurry up because we have 5 minutes. Just
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm talking a lot. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. Don't worry.
I think we're almost finished. Yeah. Let's
But
go to
but I
the.
don't know. I don't know, Christian. If you are the organizer, if you, I don't know if the presentation goes until uh uh or we have 45 minutes or 1 hour. I don't know. You can say for us. Yeah.
Okay, so here you have the design practices of the sub VIs. So I'm going like quick. In this sub VI called Write Accounts Info VI, and in all the sub VIs, you need to put all the controls and indicators in the same place that is in the design pattern of the sub VI. So in order to do this like very quick, I think since LabVIEW 2021, I think, or I'm not sure about that, or 2020, by
I
pressing
don't know.
in the front panel, by pressing Control Space and Control F, all the controls and indicators will be placed on its place automatically by magic.
Yeah.
So this is a very powerful tool that, yeah, in order to do this like very quick, because sometimes it's like takes a lot of time, like placing all by manually. So it's important to do it.
Nice. Yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah, this is obvious because we talk about this all the time, but this is the design pattern that we are going to select in order to perform the CLD with DQMH. So this is again an example of a DQMH module. And
and everything that we are talking in the presentation is this.
Yeah. Go to the yeah. It's very important because I think almost all the CLD exams ask us to develop a timing structure, a timing something, because we need to time to count the time in something like for a timeout, or maybe we need to do perform an action which is going to last like a minute or seconds. So for in DQMH, of course, via scripting, but automatically it's like transparent for the developer. You can create a helper loop in order to perform timing stuff. So in the CLA, it asks you for a 10 seconds timeout after performing any action. So just creating a private request in order to launch the timeout and another to stop it is and it's done. And this is an example of a helper loop for periodic
Yeah.
tasks. And you can also use the elapsed time express VI, but I recommend the helper loop because it keeps the cohesion in the code and in the framework, in the structure of DQMH.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
yep.
It's not. Sometimes in some exams you need to create a temporization. Sometimes it's not. For example, in the ATM example, we don't need to create a timer, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
So
In case you need it, you have the helper loop.
yeah,
Let's go with the next slide. Okay, as I told you before, DQMH has an error handling, which is created automatically. This is the error handling of the ATM exam. So maybe DQMH has an option for if the module has been called from an external launch or not. If you launch the module just by pressing in the arrow, in the run arrow, the external launch is going to be, just in this case, it's going to be false. But in another case, if it's called from another module or from the tester, it's going to be true, this variable. So in this case, in order to avoid erasing the case structure, the one inside the main case structure, I just force this variable to false. Okay, we can just go inside the VIs and force this VI in the DQMH VIs, but I will not recommend doing this because if you want to create more modules and you are used to do this, maybe in your future we will find problems. So I don't recommend going inside DQMH automatically created VIs and change some things inside.
yeah,
And this is the error, yeah. And of course, the documentation for the CLD is important to document uh, all the. I think I'm not sure about this. All the case structures of the
the case
all the
structure.
cases. I mean all the cases.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good to have
Yeah,
a documentation, a comment that says what that case performs. I think it's not a problem because when you create a request, for example, you have the opportunity to put some information
yeah.
there, and so it's something that I think all the comments is good for the exam.
What is 100% mandatory is to comment all sub VIs and also put this comment inside the documentation part of the VI properties. If you
Yeah,
just control you press control I, and this VI is gonna be open, the one on the top right, and you have to go to the category documentation and
yeah,
just paste the documentation you have to write down before.
yes. And after that, when you pass your the mouse, the pointer
Yeah,
over the icon, you see this VI description in their helper
yeah,
in the help of LabVIEW.
yes. By default, all the DQMates created sub VIs, they got the description and also the documentation. So you don't need
Yeah,
to think about this, to worry about this. And one of the, I think, the most important things of DQMH, and is, I think not everybody thinks about this, and not everybody like use them, but one of the most important things are the testing, the VIs for testing. These VIs are placed outside the library, and this is a very important point because if you are using private requests, you won't be able to use this private request straight away inside the tester. So you can create, of course, like public requests in order to perform testing. And I think
Yeah.
they don't change anything, but you need to be aware about this, because maybe in the exam you are getting nervous and you see the tester arrow broken, and you can like get mad and start like doing things in circles, and you won't pass the exam. So you need to have this like clear. This is an example of the ATM exam tester. So I created four requests in order to test the functionality of the ATM module. So those VIs are the one on the left bottom. Testing,
Yeah.
all call testing. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we would like to show a part of the code
yeah. We have 3 minutes.
that we did for the for the for an example of the exam, but I think we don't have time.
Yeah,
We are going to pass to the next slide. It, you know,
yeah.
I don't have here I
We
don't have here
forgot.
because we created a QR code for to access
Yeah,
our GitHub to for you that want to get the code. If you have the link, John, and you
yeah.
can
I
put in
just
the
open it.
chat.
Yeah,
Yeah, but later we are going to put in our LinkedIn the links for the GitHub to take the example that we did use using the QMH for you to see to to learn to use and that's something that we are doing for the community.
uh,
We put the name of the presentation of the democratic CLD because we believe that it's accessible exam for everyone.
yeah,
We know a lot of people that are using LabVIEW for a long time are very good developers, and when we talk to them, hey, go through an exam, and they start to be scary, and we say that it's not like that. We are doing in the industry. We are doing a lot of things much more complex than the exam. So our feeling here is that everyone here can take this exam, and after that the CLA, and we can um, increase our community and make this programming language more and more uh, how can I say, I forgot the word, more accessible, more
Ederson.
uh, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. There is a guy asking us how long did it take to finish the CLD exam using DQMH. I performed the exam in 3 hours. Uh,
4 hours.
yeah, the exam is
You
4 hours,
sorry,
but I
sorry, sorry.
performed it in 3 hours.
Yes, yeah.
So I was like surprised because I checked the time and it took me 3 hours. So yeah, if you are used to if you use DQMH every time in your work, it's gonna be easy for you to do, because you only need to take care about developing the code, not to perform the time structure and anything. So yeah, it's good. If you're not used to
uh,
DQMH, of course, yeah, it's gonna be maybe it's harder. But you can try with QMH. I passed the CLD exam with QMH and it was like pretty quick, maybe 3 hours and a half or almost 4 hours.
yeah.
But
Yeah, there's another comment here that passing using the KMA would be very hard. Yeah, I think that we have a learning curve that we have to pass through. And but for example, if you are thinking about to take the exam using keyword message handler, I think the learning curve for the QMH is very uh, lower, and then and we have a lot of information in forums and the YouTube, for example, you can we can go through a lot of videos that you can learn about the framework. Uh, uh, I learned the QMA last year, and looking looking at the videos, seeing some examples, and now I'm working. In the last 6 months, I'm working with the QMH, and I think the learning curve it's lower for who are using the QMA Qt message handler, and the benefits for the future are greater because
Yeah.
you can start to use this framework for your projects. I think it's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, Alexandre ask us, yeah, you only need to focus in the implementation of the solution of what NI is asking you. Yeah, that's why it's better, in my opinion, because I've been using DQMH for a lot, like 5, 7 years. Yeah, 5 years, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Yeah. About using state machine, I think you can go through the. Oh, look, what we are saying here is not that you can use, you must use the QMH for the exam. Yeah, it's a recommendation because we think it's good. A lot of things that we need to do, the framework does for you, and for example create some requests. The structure of the architecture for the exam is ready, and for me, for in my personal opinion, I got the exams, the CLD exam in 2019, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And for me it was very difficult to use, for example, an state machine without using, for example, local variables. So I went through the QMH and did my exam using QMH. Now, if I would take the exam again, I would use the QMH because it's very fast to develop something,
yeah.
and that's it. Yeah.
It pushes you to keep the all the framework, all the architecture, like with cohesion, and yeah.
The libraries, I don't understand what libraries Alexandre
Maybe
is referring to. I don't know.
other frameworks
It's
or
Yeah, I don't know about other frameworks be available. For example, there are libraries that are not available for example,
mm,
we use a lot of libraries that is available in the VIPM, and it's not available for the XM.
yeah.
We what we know is that we have the full installation of LabVIEW in the computer that you use, and now we also have the QMH framework to do that.
Yeah, because Actor framework is included by default with LabVIEW, right? Am I right? Or
Sorry.
a guy is telling us that Actor framework is also accepted, but yeah, because it's
Yes, I
included
think
with LabVIEW by
so.
default. Yeah,
Yes, but I started I
yeah.
tried to start learning actor framework, and I start to become crazy, so
I never tried
I
Actor
put it
framework.
out. Yeah, yeah. I saw a comment from a guy here that the QMH would be something advanced. They know enough to the CLD.
There is
Yes, but yeah, I don't know if ANI changed something because to become a CLA, you have to be a CLD. So if you, for example, I work with a lot of guys that know a lot about LabVIEW, and but they are not CLD. So and they are working with DQMH. So uh, my suggestion for them would be using to take the CLA. They would take the CLD. So use the QMH because you are comfortable to do that because you are working with it for a long time, and that's the reason.
And there is another guy. I don't know if you were talking about this, but there's another guy who tried to create a presentation talking about passing the CLD with object-oriented programming.
Yes.
So
Yes, yes. Object oriented. Yes, yes. Yeah,
hardcore.
I like this
This ways of trying to
this
pass.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, I have
No, this
some
is the
things.
hardcore part, the hardcore way
Yes,
to pass the exam.
yeah, yes. Because the problem is that object oriented is not very how can I say uh it's
Yeah,
not well defined
and
between
I
us.
think
Yes.
when we decided to perform this presentation, Ederson asked me, John, what do you think about doing this with a person, like trying to pass the CLD exam with DQMH? And I thought it was like cool because I think if a user is programming with object-oriented like programming, he has like a high level of LabVIEW, but anyone can start with LabVIEW using DQMH. So I think if you try to perform a CLD exam with DQMH, maybe you could be like starting programming with LabVIEW. But I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think nobody starts programming with LabVIEW with object-oriented programming. Maybe I'm wrong, but for me
Yeah.
it's much harder object-oriented programming than learning DQMH.
Yeah.
Like the starting learning in DQMH. If you want to go further deep in DQMH, it's very
Yeah.
hard.
As for example, for now, some
Yeah, I'm saying
just
that I'm not saying that
just
it's not worth learning, but I'm saying it's
yeah.
harder. Of
Yes,
course, it's worth
just
learning
some.
object-oriented programming.
Yes, I'm using object oriented just for specific points in my job. For example, for now, just for example, if I'm using an instrument and I have a lot of this, so I start to use and creating a class for that, and then I start to create another under it, and that's because it's like the way you start programming in your life. So maybe you can change, you can move, but I like a lot OOP, but it's something that I don't use a lot, but I like so much. Yeah.
I think we passed the time.
Yeah, yeah, but the talking is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yes. My LinkedIn and John is here.
yeah.
If you want to contact us to talk to have a conversation to
Yeah,
talk about
feel free
LabVIEW
to do it. Yeah,
to talk about anything that you want. If you want to call us to drink a beer here in Spain, we are here, and that's it. Yeah. Uh, yeah, we are available to to talk about LabVIEW certification, anything you want. And thanks a lot for to take your time to hear us. And that's it. Thank you so much.
yeah. Thank you. I was replying to Alexander, who was asking.
Yeah,
Thank you very much to all of you for this opportunity to be presenting
yeah,
here in the GLA. So probably we will see you next year. Who knows?
yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.